It doesn't matter if you're a professional or amateur photographer. This is one of the most powerful pieces of software you'll ever use. It uses AI to cull, edit, and retouch your photos. And unlike most AI workflows, this one can learn from your previous projects. So it edits like you. Effectively, this is a trained AI editing assistant. In my use, it saves somewhere between 75 and 90% of the post-processing time, and the results are just like I did it all manually. This video is sponsored by Aftershoot, but you're not gonna have to take my word for how good it is because there's a 100% free trial, no credit cards required, and no strings attached. There are three key elements to the software, and that's the cull, the edit, and the retouch, and I'll cover all of them in the video. I'm going to start with the cull and edit on some photos I took a little while ago. This was the last free job I did for a community sporting organization, and I stopped doing that because the culling and editing took so long. But this software has opened me up to be able to do this type of thing again. So first we're going to go in and we're going to create album, and we're going to make the album Girls Cricket. Then we're going to select our directory with the photos and click import. And we're going to select what kind of project it is. In this case, we've got a sports photography project. And it's going to, it's imported them already pretty quickly. Now what you'll see here is it says we've got 1,125 images. Those are all images I would have had to sort through, find out what was in focus, find the best of any given person. In this case, all I'm gonna do is move on to the cull section, and we are going to click Start Culling. Now, right here, we've got AI Automated Culling and AI Assisted Culling. We're gonna click AI Automated Culling, and we're gonna select Customized AI Cull. These are the settings that I use. Now, we're gonna have a few options here. We've got highlighted photos. I like this, and I'm gonna talk about how this works a little bit later, but I leave this on. This is gonna give me the best sort of 5 to 15% of the photos that the AI thinks are the best. And then we've got the duplicate photos section. Once again, we can turn that on and off. And in the duplicate photos section, this is going to group photos together when you've taken multiple photos of the same person or the same scene, and it's going to try to pick the best one for you. This is something that usually takes me ages. When you go into the customize setting, you're going to get a choice of small groups, standard groups, big groups, or large groups. What this does is it decides how many photos are going to be part of that group to select the best one from those photos. So a small group selection means that any little movement or any reasonable change in that photo is going to be a different group. If we go all the way to large groups, you're going to be able to have quite significant movement between shots, and it's going to group those all together. So you're going to get less photos in the large group setting. You're going to get more photos in the small group setting. Because this is a free community job, I want my job to be as easy as possible. I'm going to select large groups. We've got blurry photo detection. I'm going to turn that on, and we can customize that between lenient, moderate, and strict. I'm just going to leave that as moderate. Then we're going to come down to closed eye detection. I'm going to leave that on, and then we're going to click Start Culling. This will usually take a few minutes as it goes through those 1,125 photos and works out which ones are best for me. So I usually go away and have a coffee or something like this, but this will probably only take, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. Now the cull is done, and that took 5 minutes and 31 seconds. And if we look over here in the right-hand column, we're going to see a couple of selections. We've got selected and we've got highlights. These are the ones in the accepted section that the AI thinks were good enough and would potentially be deliverable photos. So I'm going to give you 2 different ways that I might process this. Since it was a freebie, if they just wanted a few shots for their social media, I would undo selected, and the 24 are the 24 photos that the AI thinks are the best, most highlighted photos. All I would do at this stage is I would just flip through these, and I would just see if they were all in focus, just looking for some that are out of focus. And as I flip through, now here's a good example. It's done a pretty good job, but in this photo, I was actually trying to take a picture of the person with the bat, the girl with the bat, not the fielder. It's got the fielder, it says this is a good shot, but that's not who I was trying to take the photo of. So I will just do that as a 2-star, and that will take it out of the lineup. And as I flip through here, I can see the different images. In addition to that, you'll see over in the right-hand side, it gives me the picture of the person's face. So in group shots, you're going to get all of their face. This is just showing me that they are in focus, and just at a glance, I can see that they all look pretty good. And for a freebie job where they just wanted a few photos, I would just then move on to the editing stage, edit and export those. But let's say that we want to do something a little bit more complete. They want a few more photos than that. I can go to selected. Now this is going to give me all the selected and the highlights. This is going to be all the photos recommended by Aftershoot. I can go through and do the same thing, and I'm just going to get the best selected photos by the AI. The other thing we can do is we can go into the survey mode and we can see the groups that it's selected and which one it thinks is the best photo. And that way we can swap that out if we want. If I was just doing a simple freebie job, I probably wouldn't even bother with this. But if you're doing paid work, you definitely should. And what this is doing is this is allowing the AI to make a recommendation, you to quickly survey what it has done, but then have control of that and swap that image if you want. So we can have a look. Here's a group of photos. It's picked this one as the best one. If I want to pick this one, I think this one's better, I can just select that and hit S, and then that swaps the photo. The other thing you'll notice is it will give you one of each photo even when it's filtering the photos. And if we come down here, we'll see I got a random picture here of just this light post, and it says here, show warnings. This image has a warning in duplicate sets containing only blurry or closed-eyed images. So basically it's saying this is not a good image. I'm not sure why you took it, but it gives you that option in case that is an important photo and for some creative reason it was like that, or maybe the AI made a mistake. In this case, it did not make any sort of mistake, and I could just hit delete and delete from Aftershoot, and then it's gone. So by using the survey mode, you're going to see every single photo that you've taken quickly, which one the AI has chosen, and you can decide to override that. This just makes the workflow much faster. The other thing you'll notice is the key faces. This is going to give you the faces of everybody in the shot. Now, this is going to be much better when we look at group photos or wedding photos, and we'll have a look at another album shortly. This is giving you a close-up of all their faces so you can see if they are in focus or not. Now, we'll just go back and get a better example of that by going back, and we'll have a look at this local business shoot that I've done. Go back to the cull phase here, and what you'll see in the group shots, it's giving me everyone's face so we can have a look quickly and see if they're all in focus. Because what you're going to know is when you do shots for people, every single person is going to go look at their own face, see if they are smiling or in focus, and that's just going to allow you to very quickly check either individual photos or particularly in group photos. It's super powerful. And in this particular job, this was only 100 photos that I took. It made sure that I had one of every person, so there was no situation where it got rid of a single person. And sometimes when there was a couple of different photos that had a little bit of different composition, it gave me two. So you can see here, this is the same person, but either I moved or she moved. So that's giving them two different options. In this case, there's a few girls which they didn't move much. So we only got one option there. We only got one option from him. But if we go into survey mode, once again, we'll click that. We'll go into the survey mode, and then we'll see all the photos of him. So it picked this one. He's smiling. I look at that. I think that probably is the best one. We can go over, look at the next person. So it selected this photo for her. I just look at the framing and everything. I would agree. That's the best one. I think those two are very similar, but yeah, it probably chose the best one in that situation as well. So once again, this isn't taking your decisions from you. It is helping you make the decision and laying things out in a very, very simple manner. Now we're going to look at the edit, and if we go up here to AI profiles, this is going to give me a number of choices of off-the-shelf solutions that give you a specific look. All of these are pretty neutral, and they would all be usable given the right situation. But in addition to that, you can create a new profile, and you've got a couple of different options. You can create an instant one, or you can do a professional AI profile. This allows you to take previous albums that you have edited, upload them, and the AI will actually learn the way you edit, and it will edit the photos the way that you edit. This is different than a preset because it takes into account exposure, people, scenes. It does a whole bunch of stuff that is so much more powerful than a preset. For the purpose of this video, we're just going to use one of the off-the-shelf solutions, and we can actually go in and compare profiles. So here I've got the original image and we got true to life. Now, eventually they say that you'll be able to use your own images. They've just got off-the-shelf images here. But say I want to add a couple of them so I can compare. And I think in this case, maybe I'm going to start editing with gray card, and I'm going to select the local business here. And at this stage, I'm just going to allow it to use the selected photo. So that's all the 4- and 5-star photos. We have a choice of AI cropping, which I'm going to have on, and I'm going to put it as aggressive AI straightening, which I want on because I don't want to do that manually. And AI masking, you can turn that on and off, and you can subject mask only, which is going to generate the mask for you. So when you go into Lightroom or your editing program, it's already generated a subject mask, or you can do subject mask with edits, and that will just give the people in the scene a little bit of pop. It'll just increase the exposure on them a little bit. And then we're just going to click edit 100 photos, and this is going to edit all those photos for us. Now it's edited those photos and we can cycle back and forth between the before and after. They do say that you aren't getting a true indication of what it looks like here. You're going to have to bring it into Lightroom to get a true indication of what exactly it's going to look like. So we're going to export those 44 photos and we're going to export them into Lightroom Classic. Lightroom's now going to bring up your normal import window, like you just put an SD card in the computer, and it's going to have all the edited photos selected. You just click import, and then your project is going to have these new photos in it. And as we go through the photos, what you'll see is the edit's been done just like we had done it in Lightroom, and it's a completely non-destructive process. So the raw files are still there, it's just apply the edit. And if we cycle back and forth, we can see the changes that the edit has made. And for the most part, this is what I would do anyways. And for me, if I'm doing something for family travel or if I'm doing something for a community organization, I would page through these and I would probably share them completely untouched. Now we're going to look at the AI retouching. The retouching doesn't work directly on RAW files. It will only work on JPEG files. So you can do this a couple of ways. One, you can either right click on the image in Lightroom and send it to Aftershoot to retouch, or you can just export a whole folder of JPEGs to be retouched. In this case, I've just exported a whole folder of JPEGs. Now I've just brought an image up on here as an example, and we'll zoom in so you can get a nice close look. And we've got the blemish removal, wrinkles, teeth, face, eyes, hair, and body sliders. And we'll start with acne, and we'll slide that all the way across. And what you'll see, that will just remove most of her acne. Now there is a freckle slider. She doesn't have a lot of freckles, but if we slide that across, what you'll find is it actually has probably cleaned up a little bit more of the acne. Now there's the spot removal. I'm not seeing a lot of spots on her face, and that slider doesn't really do much. I don't think there's any forehead lines to worry about, but the smile will actually take away this little shadow next to her mouth. So if we put that up, you can see it just kind of softens that. If we put it up all the way, it'll get rid of it completely. And I don't mind that. Maybe it looks a little bit unnatural. Maybe tweak it back a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. Looking at teeth, I think her teeth look pretty good. I wouldn't want to do too much there. Maybe we just brighten them a tad. I don't think they need to be any whiter. Now, looking at her face, we could brighten her face up just to help her pop a little bit. If you can see, if we go all the way, it's going to be way too much here and look completely unnatural. We still want this to look pretty natural, so maybe just a tiny bit there. And smoothing skin, we could, she probably doesn't need much, but we put a little bit. I might put that all the way down. I don't think we need much there. Remove shine, add a little bit of that just to remove some of the shine from her face. You see it's taken from the cheeks, but I think we still have a pretty natural looking image. Now the next one is crazy. This is the glasses glare. Watch what happens when we slide this across. How good is that? It's just crazy. Now, maybe we think that looks unnatural. We could slide it back a little bit if we wanted, just to add a little bit. But I think we could probably leave that at 100%, and that looks really good. We can brighten up the eyes a little bit. I don't think she needs much, but maybe just to give it a little pop, and maybe clean up the eye bags just a tiny bit while still keeping the image looking pretty natural. Flyaway's hair, that is going to get rid of any stray hairs. There isn't much there, so I don't think that is going to do a whole lot. And then body, we don't have much of her body in the shot, but we can smoothen the body and take away blemishes from the body as well. Now that we've done all that, we can actually add that as a preset. So I can call this test preset and create the preset. And then we can go to another image of her or anyone else, and we can just use the test preset. So we'll zoom in on her and we'll go select presets, test preset. The presets can also be developed based on masculine, feminine, elderly, and child. So you see we've got a guy in shot here and it is selected masculine for him, but then we go to a female and it is selected feminine for her. The power of this is when we go to a group shot, something like this, it will actually identify different people as masculine or feminine, and you can apply the filter based on masculine or feminine, or you can just do all subjects. Then we can apply the retouch even on group photos based on whether they're masculine, feminine, elderly, or child. I think the fact that you can try Aftershoot for free is just a testament to the belief they have in their software. And now that I'm using it, I can't actually imagine going back. So at bare minimum, download the free trial and have a play with it. They're currently running a Black Friday sale, which provides significant discounts on the annual plans, but there's also some additional free features on some plans. Viewers of the channel can use my dedicated discount code for any current plans. You'll find the code and links to the free trial in the description down below. And if you got any questions about the program, don't hesitate to ask in the comments.